If you're in Australia right now, you might be feeling a bit of financial whiplash. On one hand, you hear the Aussie dollar is soaring, hitting a 4-year high. But then you go to fill up your car or buy groceries, and it tells a totally different, much more painful story. So, what on earth is going on? How can both of these things be true? Let's get into it. And this is the real question, isn't it? It's the paradox at the heart of everything we're feeling. A strong dollar is supposed to be a good thing, right? It should mean cheaper imports, more buying power when we travel, but for most of us, our bank accounts just aren't seeing any of that benefit. So what's the disconnect? Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at why the dollar feels so completely out of sync with our daily lives. Then, we'll dive into the messy geopolitical puzzle that's driving all this. After that, we'll talk about the real pinch we're feeling at home. Ask the big question, is our luck as a country running out? And finally, we'll look at how we can navigate all this uncertainty. All right, let's kick off with part 1, a dollar out of sync. This is all about that strange feeling that the economy you're reading about in the news just isn't the one you're actually living in. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's this feeling that a lot of us have had for a while now, that the financial markets are living on a totally different planet. It's like the traders betting on our dollar are playing a high-stakes computer game while the rest of us are stuck dealing with the real-world consequences. They're just not connected anymore. And here's that disconnect in black and white. On one side, you've got the market's optimism. Traders are throwing money around based on a bet that this incredibly complex conflict with Iran is just going to wrap up soon. But on the other side, you have pretty much everyone else asking a very common-sense question. Hang on, how could this possibly end quickly or neatly? The two views just don't add up. Which leads us right into part 2, the geopolitical puzzle. Because to really understand why that market optimism feels like such a long shot, you have to look at just how tangled this whole Iran conflict actually is. So here's the problem in a nutshell. None of the key players want the same thing, not even close. You've got the US trying to cripple Iran's military and its economy. Then you have Iran making demands that would basically be a humiliation for America. And then there's Israel, whose own goals might not just be different from a peace deal, but could actually be designed to undo any peace initiative. It's a recipe for a stalemate, not a quick resolution. And if that wasn't messy enough, you have to add in the wild card of the US political scene. When the decision-making process isn't always seen as logical or rational, it makes predicting anything almost impossible. Markets usually hate that kind of instability, which makes their confident bet on a strong Aussie dollar right in the middle of all this a real head-scratcher. Okay, let's pull back from all the global drama and talk about what this really means for us, right here. This is part 3, the pinch at home, where that soaring dollar paradox becomes very, very real. This quote gets right to the point. See, in a textbook, a strong dollar makes things we import, like oil, cheaper, so we should be paying less at the pump. But that's just not what's happening. Any tiny benefit we might be getting from the dollar is being absolutely swamped by global energy prices going through the roof. And this chart shows you the problem perfectly. That first bar, that's the Aussie dollar going up. Nice. But then look at the second bar, the energy cost increase. It just towers over it. It's not even a fair fight. That is the cost squeeze. That's what you're feeling every single time you pay a bill or fill up your tank. And the evidence of this pressure is just everywhere you look. People are seriously worried that high petrol prices and interest rate hikes are going to tip us into a recession. Consumer confidence? It's tanked, down to the same lows we saw during the pandemic. We're cutting back, we're eating out less, and beneath it all is that frustrating feeling that your wages just can't keep up. All this financial stress, it's about more than just money. It's starting to make us question something much deeper, something about our national identity. For generations, we've had this idea of Australia as the lucky country. We could always seem to ride out global storms and come out on top. But now, there's this growing sense that maybe that luck has run out, that the special protection we thought we had is gone, and well, we're not taking it very well. And this really sums up that frustration. I mean, when the headlines are screaming about a booming dollar, but you look at your own finances and you're going backwards, it's hard not to feel like the game is rigged. It creates this powerful sense that the economy just isn't set up for the average worker to get ahead anymore. So, given this confusing, frustrating picture, what's the path forward? Let's move into our final part, navigating the uncertainty, and look at how we, as a country and as individuals, are trying to find our footing. On the national level, this whole conflict has been a massive wake-up call. It's put a giant spotlight on just how much we rely on other countries for our fuel. A problem that we kind of kicked down the road for years has suddenly turned into a full-blown crisis, exposing a lot of what people are now calling our past energy mistakes. And for you and me, the uncertainty creates these huge personal finance headaches. It starts with just total confusion. You look at your super and think, what am I even supposed to do with this right now? For a lot of people, the answer is to de-risk. They're pulling their money out and sticking it in cash. And it even affects our fun. That European holiday you booked to take advantage of the strong dollar, suddenly you're wondering if the whole thing's going to get canceled because of everything going on in the world. This all sparks a really interesting debate. Is Australia a safe place to put your money? The argument for it is, well, it's pretty blunt. We're a stable country in a world that feels anything but. But then you hit the practical reality, which is the question, okay, but what can you actually invest in? It's not as simple as it sounds. And so, this is where we land. For so long, Australia has ridden the wave of its luck. Good fortune, global stability, commodity booms. But in a world where chaos feels like the new normal, maybe the real question for us now is this. Is it finally time to stop relying on being lucky and start making our own?